Regulation should be a good issue for Democrats. It's certainly one they're associated with. And I think the average voter would agree that banks and chemical plants and drug companies need watching. Telling a company, you can't dump the waste from your hog farm straight into the water supply. We're mostly all for that. But Democrats have become a parody of themselves, just making rules to make rules because it makes you feel like you're a better person. Making sure that everything bad never happens again, which you can never fully do. It just makes everyone else's life a drag. The Biden infrastructure bill has a provision that requires all new cars to install an alert system that goes off when you leave a baby in the back seat, which is something done only by crackheads and people who sadly, yes, do it on purpose. And after every one of us winds up bearing the cost for cars to install this alarm, you know who's going to ignore it? Crackheads and people who do it on purpose.
Bill Maher just dropped his 2 cents on the media circus, and it was pure fireworks that dyed-in-the-wool leftist. Maher went after the woke crowd, calling out their cowardly refusal to face off with centrists and conservatives. And trust me, it was brutal. So, without further delay, let's dive straight in.
They're not into this leftist think. The left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you, I don't want to deal with you, you're deplorable, I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
That attitude, and like all the right-wingers, they don't have that attitude. No, I didn't.
Bill Maher just delivered a candid take, and it seems he's gradually shifting toward the center. For years, he's been a dependable voice on the left, but even he can no longer overlook what's happening. Maher argues that today's left has abandoned real debate, choosing instead to retreat into safe spaces and echo chambers that shut out reality. His frustration is evident. How can progress be achieved when one side refuses to even acknowledge opposing views? It's a wake-up call the left badly needs,
He's a human
yet continues
being.
to dismiss.
He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes, and I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person, and they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
And that, Maher argues, is the core problem with today's left, the instant demonization of anyone who dares to disagree. Challenge their policy, and you're branded a monster. Question their narrative, and suddenly you're a dictator. Push back even slightly, and you're labeled a fascist. This reflexive labeling doesn't just shut down discussion, it poisons it. Rather than engaging in genuine, meaningful debate, the left reduces opponents to caricatures, making it easier to vilify them. The result? The right becomes an open target for hostile attacks, while critics on the left rely on little more than cheap name-calling instead of real dialogue.
66, please don't ask me to start doing grown-up things like run for president. A few weeks ago, Fox News' Dana Perino, a former Bush press secretary, suggested that the Democrats should recruit me to run for president, which is kind of special because it means that in the space of 20 years, Bush press secretaries have gone from telling me I need to watch what I say.
They need to watch what they say, watch what they do, and this is not time for remarks like that. There never is.
They've gone from that to wondering if I should run for president.
It'll be interesting to see if Bill Maher is recruited to run for president.
Bill Maher may never admit it outright, but many of his views now overlap with right-leaning ideology. While he still identifies as a liberal, his critiques of cancel culture, woke extremism, and the left's growing intolerance resonate far more with conservatives than with progressives. That's why some commentators and journalists have begun speculating about what a Maher political run might look like, particularly under the Republican banner. The irony is striking. A lifelong liberal suddenly embraced as a potential asset by the very side he once fiercely opposed.
Let's get this straight. It's not me who's changed. It's the left, who is now made up of a small contingent who've gone mental and a large contingent who refuse to call them out for it. But I will. That's why I'm a hero at Fox these
The essence of life is to mature, evolve, and grow wiser. Over time, we all outgrow certain beliefs or positions that no longer align with reality, and that's perfectly natural. True growth means adapting, questioning ourselves, and grounding our views in common sense. But here lies the problem. The modern left appears stagnant. Rather than evolving, they cling to rigid, outdated, and often anti-common sense ideals. Even worse, they refuse to engage with anyone outside their bubble or concede even the smallest point, while the rest of us continue to grow sadder and wiser.
Just how much
They remain
liberals have their
frozen
head up
in
their
denial.
ass, because if they really thought about it, they would have made me a hero on their media. But that can't happen in this ridiculous new era of mind-numbing partisanship, where if I keep it real about the nonsense in the Democratic Party, it makes me an instant hero to Republicans. The same thing happened in reverse to Darth Vader's daughter, Liz Cheney, who's now a hero to liberals simply because she recognizes Biden did not steal the last election. What a sad...
It's almost laughable how allergic today's liberals are to criticism. The moment you dare hold up a mirror to their flaws, they don't stop to reflect. They throw a tantrum and cut you off as if you've committed a crime. Just look at Bill Maher. For decades, he was one of their loudest champions, proudly waving the progressive flag. But the instant he began questioning their sacred woke ideologies, he went from hero to villain. That's the left's playbook. Celebrate you when you comply, crucify you when you push back.
Acknowledging
So much for
reality is now
tolerance
seen
and
as a profile in
open-mindedness.
courage. People sometimes say to me, you didn't used to make fun of the left as much. Yeah, because they didn't give me so much to work with. The oath of office I took was to comedy. And if you do goofy shit, wherever you are on the spectrum, I'm going to make fun of you because that's where the gold is. And the fact that they are laughing at it should tell you something. It rings true.
The left loves to parade itself as the party of sanity, but let's be honest, those days are long gone. At this point, even raw chaos feels more refreshing than the circus they're running. Just look around. Screaming matches masquerading as debates, endless purity tests, and a cancel culture so rabid it devours its own faster than a school of piranhas. And here's the kicker. A handful of brave leftists are finally whispering what the rest of us already know. The movement has turned completely toxic. Even Gavin Newsom, California's progressive poster boy, has admitted the obvious. When your own champions start begging for a cleanup, you know the rot has sunk deep. The left doesn't just need reform, it needs a detox, maybe even an exorcism. Yet somehow, they'll still keep lecturing the rest of us on
Normal
morality
people read
while
that San
drowning in their
Francisco
own
has
mess.
basically legalized shoplifting. They think Democrats have gone nuts. They think, that Ted Cruz guy seems like a real stiff. But at least he believes in the concept of shopping with money.
Democrats have a peculiar talent. If something is abnormal, destructive, or downright disturbing, they'll find a way to legalize it, normalize it, and then parade it as progress. Take shoplifting, for instance. In city after city, they've essentially turned theft into a free pastime, lowering penalties so much that criminals stroll out of stores with armfuls of goods while honest business owners are left defenseless. Then there's homelessness. Instead of solving the crisis, Democrats glorify it, turning sidewalks into sprawling tent cities and calling the decay compassion. And with it come the filthy streets, littered with needles, trash, and human waste, all packaged under the banner of tolerance. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans are told to applaud the chaos as if it's noble, when in reality it's a total collapse of common sense. Democrats don't solve problems. They rebrand disasters as
It's not
justice
my fault that the
and dare
party of
anyone to
FDR
disagree.
and JFK is turning into the party of LOL and WTF. Members of Congress tweeting things like cancel rent, cancel mortgage, and no more policing or incarceration. declaring that capitalism is slavery, canceling Lincoln and Dr. Seuss, teaching children they're oppressors and math is racist, making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral, and now an emoji for pregnant men. Real, I'm not making.
The Democrats have become every comedian's dream punchline, and they've more than earned it. Their policies are so absurd, it's as if they're writing late-night monologues for free. Take their brilliant idea of defunding the police. Because nothing says progress like gutting law enforcement while crime soars. Who needs public safety when you can roll out the red carpet for chaos and turn America into a scene from Mad Max? Then there's cancel culture, the crown jewel of their madness. Marketed as justice, it's really just a high-tech witch hunt, ruining careers, silencing dissent, and transforming social media into a firing squad. The damage is immeasurable, yet Democrats parade it as a noble cause. At this point, they don't need comedians to roast them. They've perfected the art of self-parody.